Well, hello everybody and welcome to Chef's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to be making an apple and pear and hazelnut pie or tart. It's a pie, it's going to have a double crust. It's not a difficult recipe, but it's going to take quite a while because we're making a pastry which we then chill for quite a long time before we roll it out. We make our apple, pear and hazelnut mixture, and then I'm going to cool that down completely. And then once that's cooled down completely, we can assemble the pie and bake it. So I'll go on to the ingredients for the pastry first, and once I've done that and made the pastry, I'll go on to the ingredients for the filling. And for the pastry, I have 350 grams, which is 2 1/3 cups of plain flour. That's based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup. And I'm going to use most of the flour to start with, and I will hold back maybe 150 grams of it, maybe slightly less. I'll hold back for adding later on. I have 25 grams, 2 tablespoons of caster sugar, and in these two dishes combined I have 283 grams of cold unsalted butter. Here is 227 grams, which is 1 cup of unsalted butter, and here is 56 grams, 1/4 of a cup, and I'm going to add those in at different times. I have the zest from 2 lemons, and we'll use the juice from those lemons in the filling. And I have here 120 milliliters, 1/2 cup of ice cold water. So that's all the ingredients, and we can go on to make the pastry. So to make the pastry, I'm going to use the processor bowl of my immersion blender, and I've divided my flour up. So I'm going to put about 200 grams of it, 1 1/3 cups, into the bowl, and I'm going to add in my sugar and my zest, and I'm going to pulse those just a little bit to get them mixed together. That was very easy. So then I'm going to put my 227 grams of butter into that, and I'm going to process it until it all starts to clump together. That will take a little bit of time. And that's taken about a minute, and that has just about clumped together. So I'm going to tip that into the bowl that I had the flour in, just for the time being. And then I'm simply going to pick it up and break it into little chunks and drop it back into the bowl. And as I drop it in, I'm going to put some of the flour over it. and then put the remainder of the flour in. And I'm going to process it. I'll start by pulsing it, and I'll process it until it all breaks down into a crumb. So that's broken down and it's beginning to clump again. So now I'm going to add in the remainder of my butter, and I'm going to process that until that's incorporated, but there may still be a few little chunks of butter. That will be fine. And that's beginning to clump again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of my cold water. I'll just add maybe about half of it and process that into it. And as you can see, that's like a paste now. I'm going to put the rest of the water in and process it again. And I've got that process, and this, I can still see there's a couple of little pieces of butter, and that's absolutely fine. So I'll tip it out into a bowl. And with that in the bowl like that, I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap, and I'm going to chill it for at least 2 hours. And because of the butter content, that should firm up quite nicely. Then I'll be able to divide it into two and roll it out. So with my pastry chilling in the fridge for a couple of hours, I'll go on to the ingredients for the filling. And here I have 700 grams, 24.5 ounces of apples, which I've cut into pieces, and they're beginning to brown slightly. I did put a little bit of lemon juice in, but they've been sitting around for a while. But the browning doesn't matter, the oxidizing, because we're going to cook them anyway, and we're going to add spices which will also colour the filling. And I also have 450 grams, 16 ounces of pear, which I have diced quite small. I have 90 grams, 3/4 of a cup of roughly chopped hazelnut, so there's some bigger pieces and some smaller pieces. 120 millilitres, half a cup of water, 80 millilitres, 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice, 32 grams, 3 tablespoons of caster sugar, and 12 grams, a tablespoon of light brown sugar. You can use all caster sugar, you could use all light brown sugar, it doesn't matter. I have 30 grams, 2.5 tablespoons of custard powder, 1 egg, which I'm going to beat and brush over the top. So that's a medium egg, which would be large in the USA, but a small egg would work just as well, I'm sure. 5 millilitres, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 grams, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 2 grams, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and about 12 grams, 1 tablespoon of demerara sugar to sprinkle over the top. So to make the filling, we're going to put most of the ingredients into a pan, and I'm going to use my sauce here, but you could use whatever pan you want. So I'm going to put the apples in and the pears, and the 2 types of sugar, the lemon juice, the vanilla extract, the cinnamon and the ginger, and my water. So I'm going to put that onto the stove and bring it to a boil, stirring it to mix things together, and then I'm going to simmer it for about 10 minutes. And if I need to add a little bit more water as I'm simmering it, I will do that. And I can see that's beginning to simmer, so I'm going to turn the heat down, and I'm going to cover it, but I'll check it every couple of minutes and give it a stir, and if I need more water I will add more water. So I have now simmered that for a further 4 minutes, and I'm going to put it into a bowl. And I'm going to leave it to cool completely. And once it's cooled completely, my pastry should be chilled completely for at least 2 hours. So I will come back and roll out the pastry, and then we'll be ready to fill it and make our pie. So my filling is now cooled down, and my pastry has chilled all the time it's taken for the filling to cool down. So I've greased a 9-inch pie dish, and I've taken half of my dough out. I've just divided it roughly in half, and I'm going to roll that out on a well-floured surface, because it's going to be a sticky dough because of all the butter and water that was in it. And I roll it out so that it completely covers, it will completely cover the surface and sides of my pie dish with an overlap as well, and that will be about 11.5 to 12 inches, I guess. And I think that's probably good enough. So I'll roll that up onto my rolling pin. And I'll put that over the pie dish. Like that. And that's good enough. I'll actually just take a little bit off the surface here and tuck it in there and press that down to seal it, just to make my overlap work all the way round. And then I'm going to put some plastic wrap on that, just to loosely cover it. And I'm going to put that into the fridge and chill it again for about 30 minutes. And here I have my the remaining dough, and I'm going to roll this out into a rectangle with the shorter side being 10.5 to 11 inches and the longer side being about 13.5 to 14 inches. And I can then cut that into my lattice. And with that rolled out, I'm going to roll that up as well. And I'm going to place that onto some parchment paper. Like that, and I'm going to cover that again loosely with plastic, and I'm going to chill that for 30 minutes. And as the 30 minutes comes to an end, I'm going to preheat my oven with a baking tray in it to 220 degrees Celsius, 200 Celsius with a fan, 425 Fahrenheit, and that will be ready to start baking the pie, and we will reduce the temperature partway through baking. But I'll come back in 30 minutes when the pastry has chilled and we can put the filling in, put the lattice on and bake the pie. So as I start to preheat my oven, I've straightened this edge and I'm going to cut my pastry into strips which are about 1.5 inches wide. And I'll recover that and put it back in the fridge until my oven is preheated. So, with my pastry chilled again and the oven preheated, I'm going to put my filling into the pie dish. And level it off. Just like that. And then I'm going to cover that with my lattice. So I'm going to carefully pick up the strips and place them over the filling. Like that. So I've got 4 there, and I'm going to lift one up and fold it over, and lift the end one up and fold it over. So I've got one 1 down, 2 up, 3 down, 4 up. And I'm going to place the other strips in the opposite direction, and then fold the up strips down again and fold the down strips up and put another one on, and then put that down and fold the two that were down up again and put another one on, and then do the same again and put the last one on. And that's the lattice. And then I'm going to press it all the way round to seal it onto the pastry around the edge. Like that. And I'm going to trim that still leaving an overhang like that. And then with the overhang, I'm simply going to fold that under and press it onto the rim of the pie dish. And with that folded over like that, I'm going to take my egg, which I've now beaten, and I'm going to brush it over the top. Just like that. And then I'm going to take that little bit of demerara sugar which I have, and I'm going to sprinkle that over as well, like that. And I'm going to put that into the oven onto the heated baking tray, and I'm going to bake it for 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, I reduce the temperature to 190 degrees Celsius, 170 Celsius with a fan, 375 Fahrenheit, and bake it for a further 30 minutes. At that stage, it should be baked all the way through. I will take it out of the oven and place it on a rack and leave it until it is cooled completely. And once it's cooled completely, which is going to take maybe 2, 3, 4 hours, it doesn't matter, I will then come back, cut it, and we'll have a taste. So I left my apple, pear and hazelnut pie to cool for 3 hours. It's still slightly warm, which is fine. You can eat it hot, warm or cold. It's entirely up to you, and you can serve it with custard, cream, ice cream or anything. So I'll show you what it looks like. So I'll cut a slice out, and it looks as though it's baked very well. The base is baked all the way through. The top is nice and crisp with that egg wash and the sugar. So I'll have a taste of some of it. I'll just take a piece of the top of this one. That's very, very good. You've got the apples full of flavour, slight extra crunch from the pears and the crunch from the hazelnuts as well. It's fruity, slightly tart from that little bit of lemon juice. Very, very good indeed. So it does take some time, but it's a nice pie for this time of year with apples and pears in abundance for those of you who have gardens with them in. So that would be it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there'll be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well, and I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.